All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a piece of tech you use every single day, probably every single hour, even if you've never heard of it. We are talking about APIs, the secret handshake that powers, well, pretty much everything on your phone and on the internet.
I mean, seriously, have you ever stopped to think about that? Your phone doesn't have a tiny little weather station built into it. So, how does it know down to the minute that you're about to get soaked? Well, there's a secret conversation happening behind the scenes, and we're about to listen in. And look, the answer isn't actual magic, but it kind of feels like it, right? It's all thanks to this hidden layer of constant communication, a secret language that lets all the different apps and services we use work together like they're old friends. That weather app, it's talking to a giant, powerful weather service. The Uber app on your phone is talking to Google Maps. Your DoorDash app is talking directly to the restaurant's ordering system. It's this nonstop, totally invisible chatter. But how in the world do they all speak the same language? Okay, let's dive into this. To make it all make sense, we're going to use a really simple analogy. Just picture yourself in a restaurant. This restaurant is going to be our model for how the whole digital world works. So, you're at the table, you're hungry, you want food from the kitchen, but there are rules, right? You can't just waltz into a restaurant's kitchen and start grabbing ingredients. It'd be chaos. In the digital world, your app is you at the table, and that kitchen, that's a server, just packed with all the data your app needs. And just like you, your app can't just barge in. It needs an intermediary. It needs a waiter. And that waiter has a very specific job. First, you make a request. You order something off the menu. You can't just ask for a thing of a jig. You have to order the cheeseburger, no onions. That structured request is then taken by the waiter to the kitchen, our server. The kitchen gets the order, prepares exactly what you asked for, and then finally, the waiter brings that finished plate of food, your data, right back to your table. That waiter is the messenger, the translator, and the rule enforcer, all rolled into one. By now, you've probably figured it out, right? That digital waiter, that essential messenger that runs back and forth between your app and the server, well, it has a name. And that name is API. API stands for Application Programming Interface. Now, that sounds super technical, I know, but forget the jargon. All it really is a set of rules, a contract, really, that lets two completely separate pieces of software talk to each other in a predictable, standardized way. They don't need to know all the messy details about how the other one works. They just need to know the rules of the conversation. Let's just break that down super quick. The application part is easy. That's just your app. Programming is how the developer writes the code that makes the request. You know, get me the weather for this zip code. But the most important word here is interface. Think of it as that point of connection, that shared boundary, that digital handshake where the two systems agree on how they're going to talk. So if you remember one thing, make it this. The API isn't the database, and it isn't the app itself. It's the agreement that sits in the middle. It's the contract that makes sure the whole conversation happens in an orderly, efficient, and secure way. It's the waiter. All right, that's the theory, but let's see how this all works in the real world, because once you start looking for them, you're going to realize that APIs are, well, they're absolutely everywhere. You know when you go on a site like Expedia or Kayak, those sites don't own any airplanes. They don't have their own flight data. What they do is use APIs to send your request, I need a flight from LA to Tokyo next week, out to hundreds of different airline servers all at once. The airline's APIs then send back all the prices and times, and the website shows them all to you. Or how about this one? You've definitely seen a sign in with Google or log in with Facebook button. That's a classic API at work. The new app uses Google's API to basically ask, hey Google, is this person who they say they are? Google's server just sends back a yep, and you're in. And the best part, you never had to give your Google password to that new random app. Anytime you buy something online, there's an API making it happen. The shopping website doesn't want to handle your sensitive credit card info. No way. Instead, it uses a payment API from a company like Stripe or PayPal. It securely passes the transaction details off to the payment processor, which does all the hard work and just sends back a simple success or declined message. And that little map you see on a restaurant's Contact Us page? The restaurant didn't build its own global mapping software from scratch. Of course not. It just made a simple API call to Google Maps, saying, hey, give me a map of this address. And Google's server sent back that neat little interactive map you see. So as you can probably tell by now, APIs aren't just some neat little trick. They are, and this is not an exaggeration, the fundamental building blocks of the entire modern internet. So why do they matter so much? Because they allow developers to build on top of each other's work instead of reinventing the wheel every single time. A developer can use a payment API, a Maps API, and a login API to build a complex new app in weeks, not years. This collaboration is what fuels all the amazing innovation we see, and it's what creates those seamless experiences we just expect now. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole point. Whether you think of it as a digital waiter, a secret handshake, or a legal contract, it all boils down to the same thing. An API is the standard, reliable, and secure way for different programs to ask for and provide services to each other. They're the invisible engine humming away behind our digital lives, enabling billions of these conversations every single second. And that leaves us with a really exciting question to ponder. What new conversations, between what new kinds of applications, are going to be powered by the APIs of tomorrow? What will they build next?
If you learned something new in this video, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next bite.